Thanks for nothing. Totally inappropriate.
Yeah, definitely.
Right
and thank you for all of that. For me, the art critic. Well, I'm really glad all you guys could make it here this afternoon. Thank you for being here.
Thank
the
you,
energy
Jerry.
in the room is pow, and I'm impressed with you. I love LA. If anybody wants to give me a job, that's good. I have to bring us down just a little bit and say,
please.
I'm here not to talk about movies or actually just any one thing. I'm here to talk about how we all play our own instrument, how we're all writing our own letter to the world, how it's very confining to have gatekeepers, for example, call you just an actor, or you're just a cartoonist, you're just a musician, you're only an illustrator. The gatekeepers keep everything kind of ordered that way, and I don't like it. We all, as Walt Whitman said, contradict ourselves. You all contain multitudes. You're a bothness, an otherness, you're everything at once, and that's why we're here to talk about Jim Carrey's drawings and paintings and wherever that leads us, away from the gatekeepers. And this is important to me as an art critic. And I really started watching his drawings almost immediately in 2016 when I saw them on Twitter. And finally,
Pain bodies have to point themselves at something.
What?
Pain bodies have to point themselves at something.
It definitely
when
pointed.
We're in pain, we find
it pointed at
cure.
me. And I want you all to see all the drawings at Michelle Macaron at 300 South Mission Road. And I want to say this about that. Where they're being shown is not a hokey-pokey place. It's not about cashing in. I guess somebody like Jim Carrey could show anywhere, but he picked a real gallery of a committed, loving gallerist. You had an opening a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk about what I call radical vulnerability.
Right.
Meaning when you make art in another medium, you're really putting yourself out there in another way. What was the opening like? Because you've been at a zillion of these.
I feel I don't work towards the encouragement of the crowd as much as I do myself. If I feel like I've accomplished something interesting, then I'm good, and I know it's going to find somebody because we're not that different. But when I walked into that room, and I get emotional. I was very emotional just waiting to come out here tonight because this is a very soft spot in my life.
Art. Right.
Is a very vulnerable, open, soft spot. And you lay yourself open to be criticized, ripped apart, told you should stay in your lane.
Yeah.
And I've never believed in lanes. I don't even believe I'm a person. So you know, there are no lanes. I don't believe in them. I do believe that passion wins out, that there is, you know, a driving force behind artists, and the ones that are, you know, in need of expressing a feeling or just a sense of what's beautiful or what's terrible, and they're driven to distraction by it. Those are the people that I feel really compel an audience. And also, I believe in art as a way to bring people into presence together. You know, I truly believe that the greatest art in the world, it's like James Joyce, Portrait of an Artist as a Young Man. He says that the greatest of art, the masterpieces, really are the ones that stop you. There's nothing to say. It causes a stasis, you know, in your brain. There's no judgment to be made. And that's what I'm looking forward to one day, stumbling into something because my heart, my soul, and my talent for the craft is in a place where they all come together and capture something that can't be described. That's the goal.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to throw punches all the way.
And
at the things that bother me.
At the opening, there you're standing around. Now your art is on the wall.
I couldn't believe it.
In what sense?
Yeah, I stood in the middle of the art show and I looked around, and the sheer volume of it freaked me out.
Like, I did this?
I said I couldn't have done this.
No, it's not possible.
I sat there and I
Right.
looked at it and I said, how did this happen?
Yeah.
I can't do this.
Right.
And that's because the passion and the need and the desire behind it was bigger than me, you know? And
that's
and
what
it's a
you
wonderful
all have to
feeling.
get here. That all the demons inside of you are speaking to at 3:15. They could call his demons at 3:15 in the morning. And so you got over those demons and started working.
I live with those demons.
Mm-hmm.
They're my palette, you know? They're a part of my cavalcade of characters.
Mm-hmm.
They're everything. To me, it's funny, this separation of arts. Because I mean, there's definitely something to somebody who's grown up in the art world and learned and been schooled and knows how to mix paint and knows how to do these things and knows the history. There's something to that, but you know, the fact is we're all sculptors in our lives, all of us. You are with what you do. You do it with words now, whereas you used to do it with pastels and
I failed.
He wrote a Pulitzer Prize-winning article that was so self-effacing and open and honest and incredible that that he bridged a gap there, and he is the bridge because he is an artist and he understands an artist, and so all he wants to do, I believe, is to allow people over that bridge, you know, to help people to the next level, and I respect that. I loved the article. I thought it was really beautiful and honest.
Thanks.
And I liked some of your stuff. But
Really?
yeah,
I like some of your stuff.
Yeah. That's all we can ever hope for, man.
Yeah, a little is a lot.
That's right.
So you're standing around, you're at the opening. What's your daily practice like in drawing and painting? Because mostly all artists, and all of you know this from your lives, what you do is happening inside of you all of the time, and you have a boring life, really. You're just alone.
I thought it would go away when I went back to work as an actor, this energy is now going to go into the other thing, but I can't stop. If I wanted to stop, I can't stop. The hard part for me is stopping, is stopping long enough to take care of the business of my life. Because once I get started, all plans go away. What I was going to do with the afternoon and the other regard is completely disappeared. I'm free, and that's what it is for me. It's presence and freedom in presence. And I think the greatest works of art in the world are examples of an artist's absolute presence touching the canvas. It's kind of, in my mind, I go, when the brush hits the canvas, or you're sculpting clay, or whatever it is, in that moment, you're hitting the pond with a rock, and that the wave goes outward, and it doesn't stop. It goes around the world, especially now, that everything, I can't, get an In-N-Out burger without it going global. So, so when I touch the canvas, if I'm there, and I'm really in love with it, then that will be love. And if I want to get somebody and I want to tell people to watch out for this person and watch out for the inequities of the world and paint an example of those inequities, which I've been doing, that's the wave that goes out. That's the rock in the pond.
So the definition then of art in some ways is to be able to embed thought and feeling in material. You follow that? And so if the thought is outside the work, and it doesn't communicate. But your stuff on Twitter is actually communicating. You do an amazing thing where you combine the text and the words, much like conceptual artists always did with their title and business like that. How does that work for you?
Well, it was interesting because when I first started playing on Twitter, like everybody else, I just got myself in trouble all the time because I was honest, which is a terrible thing to be on Twitter. But, so it was a little scary. And I became kind of an activist when it comes to a lot of things that I was seeing. And there was a lot of pressure on me from my management, from people in charge to go like, don't mess this up, you've got goodwill in the world, people love you, you start talking about politics or whatever issues, you're gonna lose half your audience. And I say, lose them.
Amen, amen. That's right. That's right.
If 37% of this country isn't willing to open their mind to what's going on and see what's right in front of them, this demon that's controlling us at this moment and his minions, then there's no helping them. And you just have to go your way, and you have to say your piece and your truth, and that's what I've been trying to do. But there was a pressure to stop. And the first thing I did, which I think was really smart, was give my Twitter to one of my assistants so that I wouldn't make that rash choice in the middle of the night like our president.
Did you see him today? He called Adam...
I blissfully missed him today.
He called Adam Schiff, Adam Shit. That's... Anyway, go on.
Classy.
So you give it
Very
to
classy.
An assistant.
Very classy, Washington.
You give it to an assistant.
I do, but also the whole time I was trying to convince my people, this is a canvas. I don't know what to do with the canvas yet, but I'm going to find out. I'm going to find something to do with this canvas. Social media is a canvas for me.
That's right.
And I think if it's used in that way to express the truth or whatever, and in an artistic way, it's a beautiful thing. And I think it has turned into an incredibly beautiful thing. And I just feel so gratified. And I feel gratified that I'm here with you and that you people are interested in what I have to do. And I'm super grateful.
It seems to me what is activism? We ask ourselves this in the art world. Activism might boil down to an artist or all of you. You notice things, that's step one. Everybody notices what's going on in the United States, all around the world right now, of the devastation of our country from the inside. But an artist, and I think this is where you are definitely an artist, since we have to use these labels, they notice things, then they say what they noticed. Andy Warhol may not have been passionate about capital punishment, but he painted electric chairs and people being killed that way. So you see
and the things we were caught up in and mesmerized by, which is celebrity culture and products and the repetitiveness of it.
And you're drawing now every day. Did you draw today?
I did.
I looked to see if he posted anything today, but he hasn't.
Well, if you want to indulge me, I could send one out right now while we're all here.
If you don't follow him, just get out of here. And follow me as a favor. My editors will love that.
Okay.
Jerry Saltz.
Okay. I'm going to put one of my assistants on speakerphone here if I can.
Wow.
I don't know if this will pick it up. Oh, there you go.
Hey, Jim.
Brogan.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, man. Fill the torpedo tube.
Boom.
Torpedo tubes loaded.
Fire.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, if you want to look at your phones in the next little while, something's going to show up. I think one of the greatest enemies of our democracy is the subject of this tweet.
Let's see here. Oh my God. It's him. It is Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
And what is the text on this one?
Well, there is no text on this tweet because I didn't think it was necessary just to see him in front of the blue wave and depicted as a turtle, which unfortunately for him now is not protected. Turtles and reptiles and such. And also the nerve of a man who's been trying to destroy everything with compassion. Everything that we've tried to do that's good for this country and that we built that's beautiful in this country, and made us completely non-inclusive and made us, basically severed us in half and made us hate each other.
Yeah.
And this man has been doing that for I don't know, how many years? Many years.
God.
Too many years. Anyway, he's to me a poison in our system that we have to purge. He has to go. And he has the nerve after all of it, after trying to destroy everything Barack Obama did that was good, after, taking our health, trying to take the health care and giving tax breaks to the rich.
And giving us 2 fake wars, crashing the economy with Bush.
Yeah, just incredibly dangerous, a threat to Homeland Security. And now he has the nerve to come out a couple of days ago and ask for bipartisanship. Well, I'm telling you, that's a nice thought. And, I wasn't happy with Nancy Pelosi either when she came out with that immediately on winning some seats in the House. These are not people you can deal with. You cannot be bipartisan with a criminal. A rapist needs to be removed, not, negotiated with.
Right.
These people are raping our system. They're destroying it blatantly in front of us, and they have to go. You can't deal with them. This corrupt Republican Congress that was, the Nunes of the world and the Lindsey Grahams of the world, that is just like the most two-faced person I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, hated Trump.
Oh
and
my
now
God, he's chaff just blowing in the wind wherever it blows. And, these people have to be removed from our system because they're bad for us. Trump is a melanoma. And anybody who covers for him, including Sarah Sanders, is putting makeup on it, But it shows that there's a deeper problem in this country. The problem is greed. Greed and greed and greed. And, oh gosh, African American people might be better than us.
Right.
They might take over. It's just fear and greed is where we're living. And they want us that way. They also, if you notice, the emphasis, de-emphasizing education, all of it, they're trying to take our consciousness from here and reduce it to this. Whatever you're told by Fox News and the National Enquirer at the cashier in the supermarket.
Yeah.
They want people to be in that zone, in that very limited zone. It's misinformation. It's Goebbels, man.
Do you watch? I do. When I write all day, I actually have far right-wing radio on in the background. And I use it as adrenaline.
Yes.
And a note, they're always angry. When Bush was president, they were pissed off for 8 years. Then when Obama was president, they were pissed off. And do you watch Fox?
They did everything but hang him on the frigging White House lawn. And it's sickening to me. And it sickened me. The day Aretha Franklin died, I cried. That someone so beautiful and so incredibly conscious, and someone who's done so much to lift the spirit of people, has to close her eyes on a world like this. It's a fucking injustice. It should not happen.
Right.
I can't stand it. I can't take it. I will yell until it's over.
And are you watching the yellers, the Fox News, the far right-wing radio? Do you get?
Yeah,
I do too. Do you? Any of you?
Yeah.
You should, I'm afraid.
I dip
Do you
in,
follow-
and then I burn my clothes and take a hot shower.
And do you follow the president's Twitter account? I do.
Fuck no.
Wow.
You can't avoid it. It's sickening. It's sickening.
And have you been blocked by any of the administration on Twitter?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
I'm free to do what I want to do. I don't know if I'm being listened to or.
I got
taped
blocked
or
by
whatever.
Donald
I have
Trump
no idea.
Jr. myself.
Gangster. Yeah, man. No, that's a red badge of glory for sure.
And I got to go back to the drawings. I told you I'm boring. They're done in heat, it looks like, with real passion. They're fast, but I have to say, your line is very controlled. I see that he goes back over things. You use whiteout very well. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah,
No one uses that shit.
I'm not above that.
No,
for
it's
sure.
great.
It's white paint, man. What's your problem?
The artist always wins. And then you rip them out of the notebook, which is interesting. A lot of artists would get very precious and keep the notebook for the LACMA.
Well, that was Michelle Macaron as well.
Wherever she
I got to
is,
give her
Michelle.
credit for that
Yeah,
because
yeah.
she came and she looked at my body of work that I was building, and she went, "I want them like this."
Genius.
Don't pretty them up. I like the rawness of just
Yeah.
ripping it out of the pad, and that it is a pad in the first place.
And so you draw every day.
I do what I used to do when I was a little kid, and that was like from the age of 5 till 10. I spent most of my time in my room. I did go out and play, but my room was heaven to me, and that feeling of like I'm gonna figure out the universe in here.
Yep.
I'm going to do some poetry and then try to get it published by McGraw-Hill Ryerson. And I'm going to get on the Carol Burnett show, so I'm doing impressions and coming up with stuff like that.
Yeah.
And art. And if someone interrupted my drawing when I was a child, I would have a conniption and break things because I was in the womb, and it really is that for me. So during this period of time, there's a terribly negative effect of these kind of people and this kind of corruption and greed taking over. There's also a beautiful effect because artists come to life. Artists do the greatest work of their lives when they're trying to reach people, and so that's a beautiful thing. And I'm right back as soon as I put a pencil on a page, I'm right back at 8 years old.
Yeah.
I'm 8 years old again. Only now I'm dealing with something really serious, but in a way that keeps me in my youth.
Yeah. Was there
So
art?
I feel really gifted by it.
Was there art in your life, your father or your mother? Because it seems to me there had to be. I don't know anything about his life, so.
Yeah.
Well, you don't
Let's
know
just
about
keep
mine.
it that way, Jer.
Yeah.
No. No, the amazing gift of this whole thing as well is that, and pardon me if I get misty here, but my father, who was an incredible clown, an amazing human being who, if you talked to him for 5 minutes, you knew him for 50 years. He was just your friend, and he'd do anything for you. And just lovely, incredible, funny. I watched him perform, and I sat back and I went, "That's a good thing to do." And wrapped people in our home every time they visited, And they would leave with pea stains and go, "Percy." My dad's name was Percy, which makes you funny immediately.
Okay.
But they would leave going, "You missed your calling, Percy, you missed your calling." And he handed me all that talent and that stuff and that ability to perform. And that was him. And I lived with that for 30 years before this passion, this childhood passion came back of painting, sculpting, and everything else. And I realized one day, right in the middle of creating something, that, oh my gosh, I'm with my mother now.
That's it.
I'm getting to spend time with her, because she used to get up in the middle of the night and take these pastels out and have her private world in the middle of the night without 3 kids screaming at her, and she would get lost in her little paintings of tigers and giraffes and things she put up in our room the next day, and it was her peaceful time, and she had a great talent for it, and I realized that, my gosh, I get to spend, I'm getting the benefit of the greatest, energy from both parents. Both of them gave me these incredible gifts, and so I really look at it like time with my mother.
That explains a lot to me, because it seems to me you've talked a lot about
She also didn't put up with any shit.
Really?
No. She's not one to parse her words.
And but it reminded me that you've talked about and tweeted about that this comes from fury, anger, pain, rage.
And love, for
and
what
that's
it's
what,
supposed to be.
He took my line.
Sorry.
I was going to say, well, I'm an art critic, that
how can you hate something without loving something else? That's better.
That's it. All art, even when you're like Goya. Have you ever seen Goya's painting of Saturn eating his children? Oh, yeah. Nothing is uglier on this earth.
Incredible. Yeah.
And yet, you have to have love to make a thing. Bosch is painted with grace and elegance.
I have a Boschian character in one of my paintings. I don't know if you noticed it in one of the drawings. The drawing where
with the ass?
where the Trump base is following a red hat to hell. There's a Boschian character in there, the plague character. Yeah.
You want to see some of the art right now? And I will walk you through it. Okay. I don't know how to do this. In art criticism, it doesn't work this way, but can we please have an image?
Here we go. I think we're doing it.
Now,
or it's doing us.
The date on this one is August 10th of this year, and what's going on there?
Well, I was struck by the insincerity of Mike Pence. His face is the most insincere thing I've ever seen in my life. It's really truly the face of absolute insincerity.
Yeah.
It's absolutely stunning to me. He's squinting his eyes like this and trying to look like he loves you. He so cares about you. It's a hospitality face. What can I do to help you? Let me hold your wallet and I'll help you out here. He is so disgusting to me, I can't believe it.
And that's him with his overlord Trump.
That's him trying to sell us the idea of Space Force.
Remember that?
Not since Saturday morning cartoons, you know what I mean? Is Space Ghost gonna be there? My gosh, the Jetsons? Okay.
And where did this pose come from? I think he has a real gift in his drawing for how he...
I'm a bit of a director that way.
You are.
And I know because I know the proscenium when I act in front of a camera. I know...
Interesting.
I have a sense of...
The square, the square in this case.
The Fibonacci sequence.
Jesus. Conceptual.
The golden proportions.
And do your next image, please. Wow.
Now, this is something I woke up, I saw, I can't remember exactly what the outrage was. They've all molded together.
Yeah, June of this year. What was going on then?
Whatever, who can remember, who cares? Yeah. Let's just move on. Let's scrub and move on. But yeah, I was struck by something, him doing something about being Christian or something like that, and I was just sickened by it, and I just thought of every insulting, challenging, selfish, indulgent word he says as another nail in the hand of Jesus on the cross to me, because it is exactly the opposite of what he was supposed to be teaching us. And, whether you think he's a deity or a teacher or whatever, or if he even existed at all, it's just bastardized so badly in this country. The Christian right is sickening to me. I think that we're going to find out when they eventually find out. And I don't know this to be a fact. I just believe it myself. I haven't proven it, but my instinct tells me that there are some abortions that were paid for, and some people who jumped in and said it was me. And I think they're going to find that out, and then we'll finally know once and for all that the Christian right has never been about morality.
Agreed.
It's always been about holding on to power and using morality to do so.
Whiteness and power. I think that's very true. I love the touch of putting the president in a Roman legion. Very good touch and very filmic. I have to say, I can almost see...
Yeah, Mel Gibson would be very happy with that.
Next image, please. Now.
Yeah. This is my Halloween photo.
Halloween. Happy Halloween.
Yeah. Well, you know, but to me, the right is a cyclops. It sees in two dimensions.
Yes.
What can I have? What can I get? How can I fuck these people and get it? And to me, that's a very narrow field of vision to live in. So I depicted him as a cyclops on Halloween, because you know, there's no perception going on there.
I think that's really perceptive, because one thing that the far right has that we don't have, if we are a we, and we better be, otherwise you should just leave.
And stop apologizing for it or trying to be gentle about it, snowflakes. It's like, if there's enough snowflakes, it creates a blizzard. Yeah. And that's what we're going to do.
Kaboom.
Yeah, I don't mind being a snowflake if that means, you know, they started calling me, you know, they try to turn you into something immediately and label you and marginalize you by doing it. So as soon as I say, you know, Canadian healthcare is good. And I read an article yesterday somebody sent to me that said that the Canadian doctors are actually prescribing visits to museums to see art.
Hey.
Because people are stressed.
Yeah.
Now that's a thoughtful thing to do, you know? And so I put it out there because I'm sick and tired of hearing that system doesn't work. I never waited for anything in my life. My mother never paid for a prescription or an operation.
He's Canadian. And has Canadian health care, and that's why we hate you.
But exactly. But you know, this is the thing: is the lie keeps going, and as soon as you try to help people, they call you a socialist. They try to label you. So they called me a socialist because I want people to have health care, because I want somebody to be able to keep their house when their mother gets sick. You know, it's just not right. This country is too great for that.
Amen.
We're too great for that. And, you know, healthcare is what great countries do when they fucking grow up. They do universal healthcare. We have the means.
I want to say this about that. Again, the one-eyed thing, the one-eyed certainty of the right wing. Any issue is either right or wrong. They know for certain. Where our side, it's true. We believe in paradox. Yeah. We believe in the multitudes, the contradictions that we all live with all day.
And we're dying to negotiate with someone reasonable.
Anybody.
Look at us coming out immediately, too soon, saying, let's be bipartisan. Well, guess what? No, not with these guys. You've got to get rid of these guys. These are criminals. These are criminals, and they got to go.
Do you think this is going to be bad? Yeah. Next slide. Okay, we have to read first. Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
I'll let you read.
My congratulations to the record numbers of women who rose to the challenge of restoring the balance. Also, last night, a star was born, Beto O'Rourke, a smart and decent guy who very nearly turned Texas blue. There are great things in store for this budding Mr. Smith.
And I love how it's
And I
strong.
want to say one thing. You know, I know, there's a chance that Hillary might want to run again, and there's those types of things going on, and there's conflict about that. I don't think she would be a bad president.
No.
I have no problems. I believe that she knows what she's doing. But the fact that people are so conflicted about her, whether it's right or wrong, is a problem. And we'll lose votes. And we'll lose moderates. and swing votes. And I'm sorry, you know, I would love to see him and Kamala Harris, you know?
Do you
I
guys
see
like
that.
him?
I see that as something great because I think she's fantastic. I think he's a really, really incredible guy. And I would really love for, you know, in this decade to be able to vote for somebody who isn't the lesser of the evils.
Right.
You know,
Amen.
and that's what we need this time. We cannot put someone out there that we have to say, well, it's the lesser of the evils.
No.
And I'm not saying she's done anything to warrant that.
No.
That's the perception.
A question, informal poll. Anybody here like that idea of Beto O'Rourke being in the very public spotlight on the national stage?
I need to hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
You know, but I like his energy a lot.
And I love that it's drawn in one of the great American, beautiful...
That's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, one of my favorite movies growing up. That's Jimmy Stewart.
There
man.
he is, right there.
You know? And that's him, you know, that's when Jimmy was fighting for the truth. And that's what we're doing right now. We're in that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, every day when Trump opens his mouth, it's like they wheeled in a bunch of mail that's been faked, you know? And it looks really bad sometimes. Every time you get a little bit of fresh air, you know, they fuck it up. They taint it with some other outrageous thing.
You guys
It's
are
bad business too.
You guys are on fire, and your president is actually kind of blaming you.
Yeah, that was sickening.
And that's a really dark thing, it seems to me, as a New Yorker. It's pretty bad news.
Yeah, terrible way to do business. First of all, he bankrupted everything he's ever done. 7 times he's bankrupted. He's bankrupted every business he's been involved with. What makes anybody in this country think he's not going to do the same to us, financially, eventually, and morally?
Morally, yeah.
That's what he does.
Next image, please. Yeah. Okay, well, speaking of...
Yeah, this
hey,
is the sick
I
one.
didn't know this was coming next.
Yeah.
How do
These
you
things happen. That's so funny.
Yeah.
And you got the trademark T on the high chair right from the beginning. He's got to label everything with that T for tit. And our tyrant. You know, so I see him this way. I see him as an underdeveloped human being who's just completely lost. And he thinks the way to do business is to come and kick you in the face. And then when you pick up yourself up and go, because you're a decent person, and go like, Jesus Christ, what was that about? Then you start to heal, and you go, well, let's just give him another chance. He's being nice now. You know, I'm sickened by the fact that people are still on television, on the news, saying if he could just be presidential,
Right.
if he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
He's a bad guy.
Yeah.
He's the guy you fear. You don't want him coming into your house in the middle of the night and doing things to your woman and stealing your money. He's a bad guy. And, you know, anyway. So I see him as a child.
Next slide. Or
And
image.
a rump.
Oh, I love this one. The drawing on this one is great. It looks like a big
Yes.
pipeline of manure and oil. And
Yes.
this is about, go ahead, Scott
Pruitt. Pruitt was an incredible, like, you know, if you could be more, can you be more obviously corrupt than this man? He's just an open sore of corruption.
And what was his job with the administration, or is his job?
To bring the smog back to L.A.
He's
to kill the fish.
What is it called? The Environmental Protection Agency.
Yeah,
is him.
he's a vampire, and that's all. There's nothing good going on there at all.
And
so he really bothered me, and I needed to do whatever I could do to label that.
What is the first word? I looked on Travagio. What is that? Is that a California word?
What is it? What word?
The fourth word.
Oh, Travago. No,
What
no,
is
no.
Travago? don't know.
It's those travel commercials for
Oh.
cheap hotels and stuff like that. And it's this really annoying guy that I don't know. He's the guy that like divorced his wife at 60 and went back out in the world. Got to hit the clubs again.
It looks to me that do you have any artistic, honestly, people that you've looked at, like R. Crumb or Doc?
Crumb is interesting because I did not think of myself as being affected by him, but I did enjoy his work very much. It was extreme and incredible, but honest beyond belief, and maybe sick, but I have no idea.
Well, that's the thing about radical vulnerability, which is what drew me to your work.
Right.
We show our darker selves, the sick stuff, the stuff that you have inside of you all day. You too,
Yeah.
and you put it out there for all to see. R. Crumb did it in the 1960s in cartoons. You should
The
see
Keep
them.
On Truckin' cartoon and all that stuff, the Grateful Dead stuff and all of that. He's just a fantastic stylist and incredible. And I got to tell you our Crumb story that just flipped me out because a couple of months ago, a friend sent an article about R. Crumb that that I was in his life, and that 15 years before, he had dreamt about me on like The Tonight Show.
Wow.
And I was doing stand-up comedy in his dream, and it wasn't going so well. And suddenly, I just stopped and became silent and didn't move, like the film had frozen. And he said it was the longest time him sitting there going, Jim Carrey's frozen. Is it the film? Is it the whatever? What's he going to do? Is he going to do something crazy? And then in the dream, he said, my eyes just started rolling up and down and back and forth like that, and down and back and forth like this, until the audience was in stitches. And he said he woke with the idea that this is a tremendous exercise for his eyes. Because he had poor eyesight. So he adopted it as an exercise that he did every single day of his life. He did the Jim Carrey dream eye exercise. Isn't that incredible?
I'm impressed. That's fame.
I don't know. It's a little odd, but my ego likes it.
Next image.
Oh, my favorites.
This is Mayor Giuliani, so
Yeah.
take it.
The guy that doesn't have presence of mind enough to dye the bottom teeth. It's that his mouth is the whole administration in a nutshell. So fake top teeth that shine like diamonds, and just this rotten, diseased, root canal central down there. It's just eating him from within. Tooth decay can cause heart attack and insanity. I think that explains everything.
It's interesting to have these two big New York characters that New York has always loathed, Giuliani and Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So it's very shocking to have the grossest energy from our...
C.S. Lewis said in the Screwtape Letters, I don't know if anybody's ever read that, but C.S. Lewis said in the Screwtape Letters, in the communication with the demon in hell to his minion on earth, who was trying to corrupt a person. And the minion on earth said, great news, he's enlisted in the army, he's gonna be fighting at the front. And the demon said, you idiot, don't you know it takes a lifetime to corrupt the human soul?
And what does that mean? I've missed it.
What that means is we thought he was a good guy,
right?
Because he was in the middle of that disaster, and
right.
He did what he's supposed to do.
He did,
and he was there. It was approximation, a proximity thing, and he turned out not to be such a a lovely soul.
No.
Obviously will do anything he can and say anything he can for power, and it's sickening to me. So But we find these people out. Sooner or later, they show themselves.
Oh, here's
But will
great.
we pay attention?
I just took a picture of the Houdini star right on the corner
Oh, yes.
across the street. It's one of my
Nice.
favorites.
Uh-huh.
And Stan Lee, by the way, did you ever look at Stan Lee's work or Mad Magazine?
Of course. I used to go into
great
the,
stuff,
I used
people.
to go into the variety store in Canada, and I was the kid at the back on the magazine rack trying to fold the secret page together, to see what that folded page was, what the reveal was, and getting yelled at by the guy behind the counter. And I loved Mad Magazine, and that was a great time, man. When a great movie would come out, like Apocalypse Now or something, and Mad
Right.
would have the takeoff, it was just fantastic. I lived for that.
This is a great drawing of this escape artist.
Spudini, yes, the great Spudini, who spews lies. 4,000 documented lies in 2 years doesn't lie. That tells a different truth. And you couldn't even write the word lie 4,000 times without getting carpal tunnel syndrome.
Amen.
So how is he living in that? How does a human soul do that to themselves? Just if I knew that every word coming out of my mouth was inauthentic, what kind of cancer would that cause inside me?
Right.
And the truth is, it only hurts if you got a conscience. Sociopaths don't feel that.
Right.
And that's what he is.
And would that mean that 30% of our country is in a sociopathic
No. They're good
haze?
people who are uninformed. And they're
Right.
uninformed and not so good people. There's also, a lot of hate groups that are being encouraged to violence and encouraged to do their worst. When the head of a state, says evil's okay, guess who rises to the top?
Right.
All the good people go because they won't put up with it, and all that's left is the chafe. The people who are poisonous, the army ants. And,
When we,
so I get sick of even the thought that this guy is somehow untouchable and he can go on Fifth Avenue and shoot a gun and no one will ever. It's not true. He is touchable.
Right.
He is beatable.
And all of you
He will be beat.
and
he will.
us. Yeah. One more.
Because we're better than him.
This was good.
Yes.
It's-
Now there was conflict over this. A lot of people were like, have you checked into Nike, man? Because
Have
there
you
are human
what?
rights abuses and all these things like that. And my answer was, I don't know. I didn't research Nike before I supported Colin Kaepernick. But I've worn the shoes. I still wear the shoes sometimes. I don't know what they are. I'm sure, like every large organization, they become corrupt. That's the natural course of things when you protect assets and want to expand at alarming rates. You're going to hurt somebody. And I don't know if they're doing that or not. I don't know personally, but I wanted to support one act of goodness, to encourage an act of goodness. And that's all I was doing with that, is encouraging an act of goodness. And also, if it's good enough for Colin Kaepernick, it's good enough for me.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to encourage goodness. That's how we get more goodness. If
I-
these companies believe that goodness is a good sales tool, then they're going to do good things. But it's tough.
This drawing is really interesting to me because it exists in 3 different times if you look very carefully at it.
Yes.
The closest in the foreground is the present, Colin Kaepernick.
It's kind of cut off in these
Right.
things, so if you want
in
to look in your
number
phone or
7.
something.
And then the 2 figures giving the Black Power salute are the 2 Olympic athletes that, of course, were hated and loved in the late 1960s when they gave the Black Power salute
is
at
an
the
incredible
Olympics
moment.
on the first and the second place winners.
Yeah, and then you got Jesse Owens.
And Jesse Owens is in the far background, I think in the 1936 Olympics,
Yes.
are held in Berlin, and
It was the big show-off moment for the Aryan race.
Yeah.
And he just kicked their ass. And that's what they're afraid of.
And Hitler walked
Busted
out.
right through that swastika, man.
Amen.
And that was a beautiful moment in history. But, it sickens me that we still have to be there. How long have we existed? How long have we existed? We still can't get over each other's fucking skin color?
Yeah.
Who are we? African American people gave me my career. They gave me my break. They encouraged me and welcomed me, and that's how they are.
Yes.
The African American community has incredible grace in the face of this cancerous hate. They're unbelievable. I don't know how they haven't burned this country to the ground.
Yeah.
I seriously don't. But they haven't, because they love. And they just want to love. And they want to show you the fucking shit they have, man, because they have great shit.
Yeah.
They want to show it off.
I want to say...
And there's a bunch of people sitting there going, I don't have that shit. Do you have that shit? No, I don't have that shit. You know why? Because you didn't fucking grow up in Detroit, where there was nothing but what you create for joy.
That's right.
You know, there's nothing but.
That's right.
We're all. It just sickens me to no end.
I think everybody shares this. And yesterday I went to Michelle Macaron Gallery, and I walked around and I asked, and it's pretty full all the time, and that means you're using your platform the way it should be used or can be used. And I asked the viewers there, I said, do you usually go to galleries? And many of the people went, no. Yeah, and I said, what do you think of this work? And I wrote down some of their responses.
I heard you were doing that.
It took hours because I couldn't stop. I could
accosting people as they came in.
It was bad. I would have to tell them I'm
Jim accosting them.
Boom. First person I asked said, these give me incredible comfort. These show how angry I am. The next person said, these drawings are showing the other side, how we see them. We hope they can see our pain. Another person said, these are devastatingly on point about America. And these were people that split in their relationships, husbands and wives, that he was Republican, she was Democrat. Yeah. He did not vote for Trump, but he said it shows how disturbing power is when people start abusing it. And all these people went on and on. And I found Republicans and they were touched. And I was amazed that they didn't just turn on you. I wish you would come onto Instagram where there's more love. Right?
I believe that's owned by Facebook.
It's in your date book?
Instagram is owned by Facebook. I will not be on Instagram.
Oh, old people don't know these things.
No, we need to stop these billionaires from destroying our culture. We really do. They have no conscience whatsoever, and what they did in the 2016 election is just unconscionable and should be punished. And I don't think it's enough to go, okay, well, let's regulate them. We need to regulate them, for sure. They've proven to be, somebody we can't count on. So we have to do that. But also just the billionaire culture in general. I mean, I don't want to hate anyone. I don't want to hate on anyone. But you know what? I'm sorry. I could not. I mean, billion, maybe. I could maybe go there. But after that, shouldn't you be working for the country?
Yes.
Shouldn't you be putting it into the country,
back.
into people that need it, education, things like that? Why can't we take care of ourselves? I mean, if like Elon Musk wants to make a rocket ship to Mars, he better make room for the billionaires, man, because if they stick around here much longer this way, their heads are going to be on sticks.
And you all are going to help send this to in 2020. You promise us right now with a hand of applause, and we give you back our love. And thank you for staying.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to you. Thank you.